Hi, my name is Jason Tavares. I'm a local author here in Rhode Island. You gotta live. You can't not live. You can't plan on death. I mean, that's sick. A lot of people like that though. They won't do anything because, oh geez, I don't want to die. And it's like, you're gonna die anyway. You might as well try. You know what I mean? And, have fun.
Jason J Tavares is an independent filmmaker based in Rhode Island. In this documentary by Joshua Turner, we hope to capture Jason's varied career so far. Jason is an undiscovered treasure of the Rhode Island independent filmmaking scene. His fondness for all things Rhode Island is clearly expressed in his work, from the state's diverse scenery to its particular vernacular. His films are full of creativity, humor, and drama. His passion and dedication to filmmaking is deeply impressive. Through this documentary, we hope to share his art and the man behind his art with the world.
I was in the military for a long time. I've written 3 books. The Shadow Inside, which came out in 2008. The Existence, The Tale of the Fang Killer in 2010. And Broken Tracks Beneath Forgotten Windows in 2012. I'd say to describe myself, if anything, I'm a very right-brained person. I like writing films, I like writing books, and I hope to do both of them together for a living in the near future.
Nice. That reminds me, public access show. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I got lucky. I went over to the public access show in 2016 to be on somebody else's show, and I guess I got the dates mixed up, or they got the dates mixed up, something or another, and I went in there and there was no show that day, and the guy there goes, why don't you do a show? And then I said, I never thought of doing a show, I don't have a camera crew, and he goes, we'll do everything for you. All you gotta do is bring the guest and set up the stage. So I ended up doing, instead of just doing one show, I did 12 shows, and it was the Jason J Tavares show for right-brained entertainers, where I had writers, directors, actors, producers, sculptors. If you made ceramic cats, I don't care what you do, as long as it's a right-brained activity, you could be a guest on the show. So I did 12 episodes, one guest I had on twice, and one time a guest didn't show, so I had to interview Jimmy the Puppet, which you've met before, that I've used in a lot of films. Yeah, it was pretty cool, good experience. I've never been a host of anything, so, it was kind of neat, cool experience, and they got allowed people to go on the show and, speak about what they do. And I could, listen and try to ask the most interesting questions I could come up with.
How would you describe what a right-brained, means?
A right-brained person, I think, this is my interpretation of it, I don't know if it's correct or not. A left-brained person is somebody that's probably more analytical. You could give them, directions to something, they could put something together, they're, very, probably more organized, I would say, in some ways, when it comes to left-brain thought, or I don't know how to describe it. Let me just describe the right. That probably be right-brained. You're creative. You have trouble paying attention in class. You're looking out the window because you're thinking about drawing pictures or making a story or a film. And, everything to you is interesting, and maybe in a different way, more of a creative or like an artsy kind of way. So I guess that's where I'd fall into. Hello, everybody. This is episode 3 of the Jason J Tavares Show for right-brained entertainers. My guest today is a lady named Gabriella de Medeiros. I'd like to introduce her to all of you. And Gabriella de Medeiros is the camera person, or camera lady, I should say, for my films. We've worked together on Noise in the Kitchen, The Joy Street Mystery, Eddie Thurber's Formidable Adversary, Eddie Thurber 2, Allies and Adversaries.
Correct.
What are the other ones?
Good Comment from a Bad Deed.
Good Comment from a Bad Deed, yep.
40 at the Bell.
40 at the Bell, yeah.
And...
Blind Franny Gloom.
Correct.
Thank you for coming today.
You're very welcome. No problem.
Now, we originated, do you remember the story of how Noise in the Kitchen, the first film that we did together, came to be?
Actually, we were hanging out in my kitchen,
Yeah.
and I shut one of the doors to one of the rooms, and it creaked. And I said something about how it'd be cool to maybe make a scary movie based on that creaking noise, because it was creepy. And knowing how much you liked it, that was something that, you know, just came to mind, and we brought it up from there.
Yeah, that was a great idea, because you even said it. Like, I brought up the creek, I remember, and you're like, wow, that would be cool in a film. And then, what could we name it? I went to my mom, and she named it
Noise in the Kitchen.
Noise in the Kitchen.
Yeah.
That was awesome. In Rhode Island, you're in a 36 by 48 mile state. You got farmland, you got, you know, areas from the 1600s, you got an ocean, you got everything. I mean, it's like it's as diverse as it comes, the entire state. You got a lot of woods. So there's really, you know, no reason why somebody who wants to make a film here couldn't make one.
You guys have any fond memories from Rocky Point? You want to talk about that?
As a kid, definitely. I know you did. You obviously live a lot closer than I did, but yeah, and then just it was weird because he has that movie. We Must Be This Tall.
Oh yeah,
It's called
to ride this
a
ride.
documentary. And I mean, obviously, I was you know, a lot younger than him when the park was still open, so it was just like vivid little memories for me of certain rides that I went on and how things looked. So in watching that documentary, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember seeing that. Oh yeah, I've been on that ride. But now going to it now after it's gone, you try to picture it according to the documentary, like, okay, so this is where that was. They still have some old structures, as you've seen yourself. The big, like the ski lift kind of thing there. The arch is still there, but
The square where the swimming pool was.
Yep,
It was filled
yep.
in. You could still
Filled
not
in.
concrete though.
but it's his childhood thing. So when we still go there to this day. I mean, we went there 2 weeks ago.
No, it's a nice park. No, it's
The
beautiful.
state owns it. It's gorgeous. I mean, they've done a great job with updating everything, even facilities like bathrooms. So it's a nice little area to go, and just weird seeing how it's just all grass as opposed to a theme park.
And as a teenager, it was fun. Because you go with all your friends, you get the flume, you run into people, you meet, you know, as a guy back then, you're meeting girls from other schools, and it was fun. It was just great, you know. I'm like, hey, what are you doing this week? Oh, I'm going to Rocky Point. And then I went in the Army, and when I came on, like, the 4 years in the military, I come back, and it's closed. It closed in 1996. And I was like, oh my God, Rocky Point's closed, and that was just, you want to come home and go. And it was shut down. You're like, ugh.
A lot of bands played there.
Yeah, a lot of bands were there, and they had a cool haunted house that had like a big drop inside.
That one.
After a while, like monsters' heads fell off and things like that. They didn't replace them, and you kind of knew it was near the end. And in your head, you didn't want it to end because Rocky Point was such a great place. It was just a lot of fun.
It's just weird driving to it now. Like you drive down the street, you're like, this is a residential area. It's all houses. But at the end of this road, you had this huge theme park that people came from all over to go to, and people came on boats, and everything was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so awesome because if you were bored as a kid, let's say you don't want to go to the beach, you know, you're in this little state where nothing's very far to do. It's like, hey, you want to play baseball? Nah, I don't want to play baseball. You want to go to the beach today? You know, you want to shoot basketball? Nah. You want to go to Rocky Point? Yeah, let's go to Rocky Point. There was always something to do as a kid. So I was never really bored. You know, it was just, you know, it was always fun. And then Rocky Point being gone, I think it would help a lot of kids today to have somewhere to go.
It's weird because I grew up in the East Bay area of Rhode Island, so I never really came up in this area when I was a kid.
Oh.
You know, my parents, we didn't have family or anything to do around this area. Plus, was go to the airport or Rocky Point. So a wiener to me was, there was a place in Warren that I think they're still open today, Rod's Grill, and that to me was the only wieners I had ever had. And then when I came up here, I'm like, oh my God, this is what they're talking about when they say the Rhode Island wieners. Yeah.
So when I was a kid, it was different too. You didn't have all these rules like today. The guy making the wieners would stack them up his bare arm. And today, people, they'd close the place down if they did something like that. But you'd have a guy who goes, hey, how many you want? Well, if it was me, 4 of my friends, you might be ordering 20 wieners. You know what I mean? So he'd have his arm out, and the guy would, the arm would be like, oh, up to here, and he'd have wieners stacked. He goes, what do you want on yours? Mustard and onions. What do you want on yours? Mustard, onions, and coney. So he'd be decorating them, and then he'd put them down. This is on his bare arm. It'd be all the way up his arm. Paint all the wieners, whatever you want. Ketchup, that there, put it on there. And then he puts it on the tray, and next person. That's how the system worked. And nobody complained. Nobody got sick.
Yeah, health department would shut them down now.
Yeah, today. But then it was just, that was the world. And I feel bad people today don't get to see normal stuff like that. It was, I just thought, I never, you don't think twice about it as a kid, you know what I mean? Really cool. So a lot of people stepped up and helped me out a great deal with these films. So, I try to put together the best story I possibly can with the most amount of camera angles for only having one camera. And I think I get a pretty good show out of it. I mean, it's interesting because it all ties in. Yeah, the quality could be a little bit better, like the camera quality, but I couldn't ask for better people that have stepped up to be in the films. And I'm really lucky about that because they don't get paid. They get free lunches, pizza and bottles of water and things like that. And we try to knock a whole film out in a day to 2 days. And sometimes it can run anywhere from 10 minutes to like a 35-minute movie. And that's good, and you get a good story out there. So my main objective has always been to get a good story out there. So with everything else aside, for a $150 film, I just got all over the place, $150 film, am I getting a good story out there? Yes.
Damn near 200 years since we got buried in that there hill. Which it is you want, no way. He ain't about diddly. No one can't move past these hillside graves anyhow. Let's kill him.
Where do you find actors? How's that process work?
A lot of it's like word of mouth. Like I've asked a lot of people. Like I met you on Craigslist. I mean, that's a good way to find actors. Like I've been in your films, you've been in my films, so that worked out good. My girlfriend stepped up to be the camera person, and she's very good at it, and she, likes being in the film, so she's been in like 11 films. So that's pretty cool. And then I have a lot of friends I've asked, and then I think it's a good thing to ask almost anybody, because you don't know who wants to when they're scared to ask you. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of people, like, they talk to me and like, oh yeah, I didn't know you wrote and made films. I said, yeah, I love doing it. And like, oh, can I have your number? And you pull out a card, like I have business cards, so you never know. They might know somebody who knows somebody. So most of it's word of mouth, and me just asking people, Edward D. Wood Jr. That's another writer he was a little off the wall with some of his stuff, but he didn't fold or hide from it. And like, a lot of people, like if you get too much scrutiny, they'll stop what they're doing. And maybe that's a good thing, because if you're stopping what you're doing because you're getting scrutiny, you didn't want to do it anyway. Because you should be able to tell people to screw. If I'm not hurting anybody by doing it, and I enjoy doing it, why not continue to do it? So a lot of people, they won't do anything because they care about what other people say. And I think he was the kind of guy who didn't care about anything. He just wanted to get his idea out there. I don't understand why people don't get these short films. I just can't comprehend it. It's so self-explanatory. The man who claimed to clear the home of ghosts is the man in the mirror. That's the ghost who was visiting with her. That's the meaning behind this picture. That's the intent that the people and the masses just don't understand it. You bit a hole in the script. And this thing about the cape, you can't wear a cape. I mean, it has nothing to do with the movie. I put you in part 1, I put you in part 2, you're in part 3, but part 4 with the cape kind of ruins the whole sequence of things. So, listen, hey, you did a great job in the film. This is just something we have to talk about, okay? We can work it out, we'll work it out. Okay, you can wear the cape. Oh, you win, you get the cape. I love you. You did such a good job. And I want you at 8:35 too, okay? All right, buddy. Eat your bone. I think it's easy to come up with films, and I think anybody can do it. And I'm not trying to downgrade it in any way, but like I don't know if I said it before on other commentary that we did for this documentary, but I think a lot of people downgrade themselves. Like, oh, I can't do that, I can't act, I can't do that. Anybody can do anything. If you want to make a film, beginning, middle, and end, come up with a story, and I'd start with very short stuff, and then as time goes on, maybe make them bigger. But anybody can do it. Don't tell yourself you can't. It's very simple. I always have ideas, like constant ideas. So I want to make Hollywood films or even straight to video films, because like I can, knock a story out really quickly, and I can come up with interesting stuff. Like let's say you were somebody that wanted me to write a film or a story for them, and you said, I want the story, like let's say you let me run with the idea. Well, that's one thing. But if you said to me, I want you to run with the idea, but I want to see X, Y, and Z, and this, and this, I could do that too. And it's not a problem, because I can really put myself into writing, and like I can give you like a 30,000 word story in a very short period of time. And that's with rereads and everything. I mean, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I think it'll be a great story that, somebody that knows how to plug and chug out of a story for a screenplay, if that was their intent, they'd have a lot of material to work with. And I can also target how I write. And what I mean by that is if you said, hey, I need to film this for $5,000, I can write for that with few characters, few scene changes. Or if you said I got $5 million, I can make what I'm writing more advanced to kind of be tailored for the budget. And I can do that all while I do it, as long as somebody briefed me ahead of time. So that's kind of where I want to be, because I like being on the spot with ideas. And someone say, hey, in a month, could you get me this? You're going to make X amount of money. The film needs to look like this. Can you do it? I'd like to be that guy. You know what I mean? So I can put those stories out there. Because I got the ideas. I got tons of material I've already written. Might as well make money on it. I just wish I could, get to that point. So maybe someday, it'd be awesome.
Do you have any favorite movies or favorite directors?
Yes. Guess who my favorite actor and director is?
I would guess Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I love Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone's the only actor in the history of acting to play a character that he's played now going on 45 years. Rocky. That's amazing. And he's still in shape at going on 75 in July. So to me, I like my favorites, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd say Sylvester Stallone's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stallone's my favorite actor and director.
Nice.
Because he's the only actor in history to play a fictional character for 45 years. And he's still playing the character, and he wrote that character. Like you got Harrison Ford played Indiana Jones, and that's cool. He's a great Indiana Jones, but he didn't write it. Stallone wrote it. This was his creation. And he's still playing Rocky. He's going to make Rocky 7, too. Using 2 creeds. You know what I mean? He's playing Rocky 7 where he's training another person. I don't know what the story's going to be about, but I'll be there to see it probably 5 or 6 times. I'm a big fan. But when it comes to writing, I love Stallone.
It's a book I wrote. I wrote 3 of them. They're not a trilogy, but this was the 3rd one I wrote back in like 2013.
That's sick. Broken Tracks Beneath Forgotten Windows. That sounds like a song title.
There's actually a song in it that I wrote.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
I'm not much of a singer though, man.
You can do it. I can write music for it.
You want to do it now, or don't you have to be somewhere?
No time like the present.
Cool.
Never
All right,
know what's
man.
gonna happen.
I think it's in the back here. When we find it, we'll knock it out. It is on... it's not a numbered page, so it's probably on page 364. All right, man. See what you got. On that day I was taking broken tracks, were waiting as a place to come back and be alive. My wife left me at the door next to a cat that I adored as she drove off beside another without goodbye. She said, claim to avenge another who I left at an altar as a young man trying hard to survive. We sometimes find long past mistakes in our decisions that we make, ones things we blame on foggy visions in our lives. Broken tracks were not forgotten as the windows told me nothing, despite pain, turmoil, lies, and despise. Living through this rough time with Satan following from behind showed me good acts of mine won't be denied. Now not all will go unseen as a person in between, lost in pages, alive as fiction, then recognized. These broken tracks I walked beneath me have forgotten windows see me as a man fixing problems in another's mind. So let this story be told so others may behold broken tracks beneath forgotten windows. Walk away. Stick to what you know is right, even though there'll be a fight. Truth of heart is worth the battle for a lover's pride. You picked up on that quick, man. Nice job.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
That was awesome. Good job to you, man.
So we just made a music video.
I guess so. Definitely.
Awesome.